Hello, this is Andrea from OurDayDream, and today we have another awesome guest. His name's James Shorkey Jr. He is the former owner of Shorkey Family Auto Group. He is currently a personal development mentor at Results from Thinking. Please hit subscribe and stay tuned for a new episode each week. So without further ado, here is James.
Okay, how you doing, Andrea?
There you are.
Good, good. Can you hear me good? I'm actually outside. Hopefully that
I
works.
see that.
The problem is that they're cleaning in there. My wife has the cleaning people here today. So I like I said, does this seem to be working okay? Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. You're
I think-
showing up clearly.
Cool. Okay. One thing I want to make clear is to your audience, assuming they're going to hear this portion of it, is that I have no idea what you're going to ask me, and I like it that way. I want to be extemporaneous. I want to be real. I want to be raw. I want to be honest. So I have no idea what you're going to ask me. So I'm going to put it to you to ask me your questions, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. So I'm so happy to be here.
I'm grateful that you're here.
Great.
All right, so right now you're a mentor and you mentor how to think big and grow rich. But what I really love about what you do is there's a lot of development people out there helping people that are either focused on like the monetary or the prosperity, how to live a spiritually good life or how to grow a business. And so you bring everything in together, and you pretty much give it, it's like, this is what I've learned along the way, both materially and spiritually too. In order to like really be able to enjoy riches, you have to be fulfilled too.
Well, let's be clear here. So riches, when people hear the word riches, they think about money, but that's not necessarily the case. It can be, but it's not the case always.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to live a rich life? What does it mean to eat a rich piece of cake, for example, right? It's rich, it's sweet, it's this, that. So in terms of life, it's up to the individual to define what riches mean to that individual person.
Right.
And so what I mean by that is, like, for you, maybe you do in fact want to be a millionaire. And so I can teach you how to become a millionaire. Or maybe you want to be 100,000, like, in other words, you want to make $100,000 versus $1 million. I can teach you how to do that. Or maybe you want to make $50,000. They're all good numbers relative to whatever it is that you want. But there's the other side of it. I look at it from 5 basic pillars, and I categorize these in order of importance to me. So my first pillar is passion, and passion would be the spirit pillar. It would be the enthusiasm pillar. It would be the high energy pillar. And so I want to have great passion for everything that I do. And I also like to look at the opposite of that pillar. I call it my anti-pillar, which would be apathy, meaning I don't care. It's indifference. I don't care about this, that, or the other thing. And so I don't want to ever be in that position where I just don't care. Like, I care about you, Andrea. I really do. I care deeply about you. And I want to always express that fact with my passion for these things. So passion is my number 1 pillar. My number 2 pillar, surprisingly, is health. And I came to that conclusion because, I was the type of person that got rich doing all the right things relative to being rich, but I did all the wrong things relative to health. And so I became unhealthy. And so if you have a program out there that's encouraging people to become rich and at the same time become unhealthy, well, that's a bad program. I don't like that program. I don't want any part of that program. So my number 2 pillar is my health pillar, because if I'm not healthy, I'm not even here right now. I'm 65 years old. My father died at 63. And so it's not unusual for a person to be dead at 65 years of age. And so I don't want that. I want to be here for a long time. So health is my second pillar. And the opposite of health, of course, is illness, chronic disease, a real problem in our country today. And so I don't want any part of those chronic diseases. So I'm doing everything I can to live my life in a certain way. And of course, teach that as well around, people becoming healthier, people becoming, so when we look at getting better, or like you said, getting richer, well, I'd like to look at it as getting more passion and getting a better sense of health. And then my third pillar is love, my love pillar. My love pillar is number one in my love pillar is my wife, Amy. I've been married for 42 years. And so she's very, very central to everything that I do. She's my reason why. And the second aspect of my love pillar is my family, which would be, my children, my grandchildren. I have 9 grandchildren, and I have 4 children, and, life's good. So the family, Amy's mom and dad, and all the different family members, that's very important to me, is my family. My friends, Andrea, you're my friend. And it's important for me to cultivate those relationships as well. So my love pillar is my wife, my family, my friends, my self-love, and then my love of nature. I spend a lot of time in nature. I was out there today, did my workout out in the sun. I did a meditation out in the sun, really trying to focus on listening to the birds and smelling the smells and being real. I'm outside right now. I love being outside. So that's my love pillar. And I want you to think about this. So I have great passion for that love pillar, but at the same time, if I'm not healthy, well, how am I going to be a good lover? How am I going to be a good lover to my wife or my children, whatever? So I have to be healthy to do that. I have to be here to do that, right? Then my fourth pillar is my abundance pillar. And for me, that abundance pillar always was about money. And I wanted to have enough money to do the things I wanted to do with no worries. And so I've achieved that. And I still think about money. Money is a very important thing. There's things that I want to do that take money, right? So money is my fourth pillar for a reason. I mean, I want to have money, and I continue to think about that. The opposite of money, of abundance would be poverty. And I don't want any part of that. I really don't. And I feel like I can engineer my way out of having the potential of poverty in my life. By the way, the opposite of my love pillar would be loneliness. And so I don't want to, like, if I don't do things the right way relative to that love pillar, I will end up lonely. I'll end up divorced. I'll end up by myself. My kids won't be speaking to me. That would be devastating for me. So I really focus on that. I like to always look at the yin and yang, so to speak, the good and the bad, the opposite, the left and the right. That. Yep. And then lastly, my last pillar would be my joy pillar. And joy is my funeral test. And so the funeral test is going to be dictated by who shows up and what do they say. And so I'm in the hole. I'm in the hole. And somebody walks up to that hole and says, that guy right there, he's with his wife and his children, or she's with her husband or significant other or whatever, but they're with some people. And they say, that guy there changed my life. Without him, we wouldn't have the things we have today, guys. And he really meant a lot to me. And the more people to say that kind of stuff, that's a successful life. That's a life well lived, versus the person who shows up at my funeral and says, hey, I'm just here to make sure this guy's really dead. He was a total jerk. I'm glad he's gone. So I don't want any part of that. So the opposite of my joy would be sadness and depression. And I don't want to live my last days on this planet with sadness. So yeah, I think it's important that we look at those 5 pillars and then decide how we want to dictate to those 5 pillars. I mean, some people aren't concerned about money, and that's fine. That's their prerogative. For me, money is just it's so easy to get money that I think everybody should have money. There's no excuses for not having money in the United States of America. Now, maybe you're not going to be a millionaire, but certainly there are ways to make more money. And if you just execute on those ways, then you will have more money. So I think, even though in the self-help, self-development field, we hear a lot about money. And I don't think that's the key to everything. I don't. But at the same time, it's so easy to have money. So that's a long answer to a question you didn't even ask me yet. So
no, I love it. I love it.
I want you to run this though. So I don't want to.
No, I love it. So, but the viewers, they don't really know much about you. Well, maybe some people do because you're known. So, but some people don't. And so, can you kind of give us a little bit of your story into, how you went from little James Shorkey Jr. to being a personal development mentor? So,
well, interesting. Yeah. Well, so I was born January 24th, 1957. So I'm 65 years old, and my father was always in the car business, to my knowledge, as far as my memory is concerned. And so, back when I was in first grade, they had these quote career days, if you can imagine such a thing, and say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I wanted to be a car salesman. And I know that was my dad, and my dad's, I just thought that was a neat thing. So I always wanted to be a car salesman from first grade on. And then they asked me in high school, same answer. I went to college. What are you going to do? I want to be a car salesman. Why are you going to college? Well, because my dad's making me, and blah, blah, blah. And so graduate from college and proceeded to be involved in the car business. I never worked anywhere else but for my dad, with my dad. And my dad died very suddenly on March 24th, 1996. He literally dropped dead. At that point, my wife and I owned 24% of the stock of the corporation, which at that time was called Courtesy Oldsmobile Jeep. So I was an owner, and I was the heir apparent. I was the guy that when my dad did die, he had this all planned out that I would be the Johnny on the spot. I would run the business, right? So my dad died March 24th, 1996, and if I knew half as much as I thought I knew when my dad died, I would have been pretty darn smart. The fact is, I had no clue. And the worst thing about not knowing is when you don't know, but you think you know. It's called arrogance. And so I didn't want any help. I didn't want anybody's assistance. 1996, I'm the guy. I'm going to make this thing bigger than it was ever has been in the past. And that was my sole dream, was to make it big Jim Shorkey, right? Well, 2 years later, I ended up bankruptcy imminent. I got a phone call from my sister. Tomorrow morning, when we open up the dealership, the bank account's going to be a negative $55,000. Checks are going to bounce. And so I went to the bank that next morning. I was there before they opened. I told Al Lazar, my contact at the bank, what had happened. And I just couldn't bear the fact that my dad's checks, and I really did view it as they were my dad's checks that were going to bounce. I couldn't bear that. I was embarrassed. I was sad. I was very sad, very upset, cried, the whole thing. But I had to go deal with this. So I was there before they opened. I got a hold of Al, and he assured me that the checks would not bounce. He'd make good on the checks, which I was so grateful for that. And I borrowed $100,000 from the bank to get the business floating. And then I had to get to work. And so what I did was, at the time, I started self-development. I started my self-development journey on March the 1st, 1993. It's funny how you remember those days, right? But I remember it very clearly. Yeah, March the 1st, 1993. So I was definitely a student of the game. But, I was more of a student in terms of reading and studying, but maybe not necessarily executing as well as I could have been. And so here I am, bankruptcy imminent, 1998. This is literally 5 years later, almost to the day. And but I was reading this book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And but I wasn't really executing it. And I thought, oh, geez, here I am, bankruptcy imminent. Like, I got to do something. So I had and Napoleon Hill was long dead by that time, but still I had a personal conversation with Napoleon Hill. And I told him that if he got me out of this mess, that I would do exactly what he told me to do. I would dot the I's, I would cross the T's. I would not leave anything undone. I would do exactly what he told me to do. That was my first promise I made to Napoleon Hill. And my second promise was that I would never, ever, ever, ever be arrogant again. Never. I would lose that habit. And so I started reading the book with intent and with passion. And one of the things he talks a lot about in the book is to seek expert counsel, find somebody who is smarter than you, and have a conversation. And to that point, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And this is how you get better, by getting around people that are better than you. So I was in the wrong room. So I needed to get in the right room. So I went to Mr. Hamilton, who was my father's former partner. And I walked in, hat in hand, tail between my legs, so to speak. And I said that I didn't know what I was doing. I needed help. And I asked him for a list of 10 things that I should be doing to be a successful automobile dealer. And he told me that he would think about that. And he told me to come back the next day, and he'd have a list for me. And boy, lo and behold, I go back the next day, and he has this neatly typed up list of 10 things. I wish I had it. I don't have it. For whatever reason, I lost it. But anyways, I did it. So I got that list. I went to work on that list. I did exactly what he told me to do. And that needle was like this. I barely had a pulse, and that needle started to move. I started to hear a pulse, right? And so I just kept going back to Mr. Hamilton, and then I went further. I went to Chrysler Financial, which was the financial arm of Jeep at the time, and went to them for help. Went to GMAC, the financial arm of Oldsmobile at the time, for help. Chrysler was Jimmy Lawn. GMAC was Jim Kacharski. And these guys, they helped me, just like Mr. Hamilton. They helped me. They were so gracious, and it was all free, FREE. They just were so eager to help me, right? And so then I joined think tanks. I went to training classes. I just kept doing it, and I do it to this day. I always try to find people that are smarter than me. In other words, if I want to get healthy, I got to talk to healthy people, preferably
Right.
PhDs or MDs. Hey, what do I do? How do, it's broccoli. It's not Fritos. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you learn these things, right? So that's my story. And so it went from bankruptcy imminent to it was one dealership, 40 employees, selling roughly 1,000 cars a year. When I left, it was selling 5,000 cars a year, roughly. It was 6 dealerships when I left. And just to give you an idea, the testimonial to this thing that I figured out, this formula, is my children now own and operate the business exclusively, independent of myself. I left, I'm retired, and they've actually made the business 10x bigger than what it was when I left. And
That's awesome.
yeah, it's incredible. Like they have 5 dealerships in the Gainesville, Georgia market. They have a dealership in Ohio, and they have 3 dealerships in the North Hills, 3 in North Huntington, which were already there, 4 dealership in White Oak. It's 16, 17 dealerships right now with over 1,100 employees.
That's
So
awesome. But what kind of advice do you give for somebody that doesn't know who to look up to?
how do we go about getting from point A to point B, or from point B to point C? And so to that point, let's say we're talking to a person who does not have a job right now. And so they want to get a job. Well, there's so many opportunities to get jobs out there right now, and so many opportunities to talk to people who know how to get jobs right now, or how to write a proper resume, how to do things the right way. And so that expert counsel is out there for that person. So the first step in anybody's journey who wants to, again, move from A to B, is define what is B. In other words, where am I at right now? But what is that B? Where is it that I want to be? And what's my reason why? And so I think there's 4 aspects to this thing that are very granular and very basic and very, very from the gut, right? So the number one, and I'm going to say this 4 times, right? I'm going to say the same thing 4 times. The number one most important thing that we need to do as individuals is to figure out what it is that we want. Okay. That's the number one most important thing. What is it that we in fact want? What is it that Jim Shorkey wants? The number one most important thing after that is figuring out why I want that. And I can tell you right now, if my reason why doesn't make me cry, then I'm probably going to cave into all the negativity that's going to hit me with, you can't do this, Andrea, you're not good enough. You can't do this, Jim Shorkey, you're not good enough, or whatever the case may be, or nobody in our family ever did that, or you've always been a loser, what makes you think you can win now? And this kind of negative shadow that's out there in the universe, so the number one most important thing is what I want. The number one most important thing is why do I want it, right? What is my reason why it made me cry? And then the next number one is, what do I not want? And oftentimes that part that I don't want is the opposite of what I do want, but still it bears discussing, right? And I think that the motivating aspect of life is very strong around what I don't want. And I'll unpack that in a second, but we got to get very clear on what we want, and we got to get very clear on what we don't want, and then why we want it. And then the fourth number one is, why do we not want this, right? And so just to give you an example, let's say I want to live to be 100 years old. So that's what I want. And so what's my reason why? Well, I already said I've got 9 grandchildren. I've got 4 children, 4 significant others. I've been married for 42 years. I'm 65. That's 35 more years on this planet that I get to spend with my wife, my kids, my grandchildren. And I look at 100, I have this already figured out in my brain. I'm going to be a great grandfather by then. Chances are, probability states that I probably won't be here to witness that great grandchild. That's the probability of it. That's the mathematics of it, right? Unless I make very, very conscious moves to give myself the best probability of making it, I'm not going to make it. The average life expectancy in the United States of America for a male is just shy of 80 years old, 79, let's say. And so if I get to 100, like, good luck with that, right? So I have to do special things to get me there. I'm drinking oolong tea right now, OOLONG, very, very healthy. That's what I'm drinking today, is oolong tea. I'm in the middle of a fast. I fast every day because I'm told that's very, very good for me as I go forward towards that goal of, in this case, of 100. So what do I want? 100. What's my reason why? I have 1,000 reasons why. And yes, they do in fact maybe cry. I want to be there when my granddaughter, when my grandchildren, each one of them, when they get married, assuming they choose to get married, I want to be there to witness these great grandchildren. How cool would that be, right? And so I think about that. I think about sitting out on my front porch with Andrea Rice, my daughter Katie, my granddaughter Lila, and her child, assuming she has a child, and we're all sitting there having this discussion like we are right now. And in order for that to happen, I've got to be here. So that's my goal, is that kind of a thing. And my reason why it does in fact make me cry. And now what do I not want? So let's look at some mathematics there. You know, do you know that if I'm 80 years old in the United States of America, do you know that the statistical fact is that there's a 50-50 chance, 50% chance that I will have Alzheimer's disease when I'm 80 years old? So that means my wife and I are going to be here together because we're joined at the hip. So we're 80 years old. One of us is going to have Alzheimer's disease. And so that's a nasty thing, right?
Yeah.
So I look at it, I think, oh my God, I don't want this. So I studied Alzheimer's. I've read probably 4 or 5 books on Alzheimer's. And what can I do to prevent that? What can I do to delay it? What can I do to mitigate it? Right. And there's things I can do. And I can tell you, it's not donuts, it's oolong tea, for example. So what do I not want? I don't want Alzheimer's. I don't want cancer. I don't want heart disease, although I already have heart disease. So because of my stupidity of my previous life of making a lot of money, but eating hot dogs and hamburgers and pizza. And I tell people all the time, like people that they think I'm a guru. If I was a guru, well, why do I have peripheral vascular disease? Because of the stupid crap that I did. So don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. Don't do that. Don't be smarter than I was. And so right now I'm working very hard on reversing, and you can reverse peripheral vascular disease. You can, and by the way, this is not medical advice. This is Jim Shorkey talking. So please don't just take what I say with a grain of salt, but I am working on it, right? Because I want to be here. Actually, my goal is 122 healthy, happy, terrific years, healthy, happy, terrific, relaxing years. So I think it's very important that we decide what we want, why we want it, not what Joe Schmo wants, what Andrea Rice wants.
Right.
That's all that matters. What does Andrea Rice want? Why does she want it? What does she not want? Why does she not want it? And once we get that all figured out, then the expert counsel becomes very, very apparent. So once you know what you want, like for example, if I want to get to Pittsburgh, all I got to do is put Pittsburgh into my navigation system. Navigation is the expert counsel, and it says go left, go right, go left, right. But if I pull up to a stop sign, you and I are in a car, right? We pull up to a stop sign. I say, Andrea, where do you want to go? You say, I don't know. Left or right doesn't matter, does it? Doesn't matter. The left or right takes us to I don't know. So we got to get very clear on this, what we want. And again, the reason that the why's got to make us cry, because with all the stuff, you get out of bed in the morning, it's day 3 of your new journey. It's like, not today, but that reason why creeps into your mind. It's like, no, I got to do it. I got to do these push-ups today. I got to drink my oolong tea today. These things I have to do. So does that make sense?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. Let me know the next time you invent something, because I never invented anything. So I don't need to worry about that crap. I just need to worry about if what I want to do typically, and again, I'm not a guru. I am not a guru. I'm not an inventor. I'm a car salesman. But what I am is I'm a guy that copies people, right? I copy successful people. And so once I figure out what I want, the first question I ask, you know what I'll interview. What do you think the first question I ask when I figure out what I want? What's the first question I'm going to ask? What do you think it is?
Is it going to make me happy?
No, well, I hope I've already, if my reason why makes me cry, yeah, I think it's going to make me happy. No, the first question I ask is, has anybody ever done this before?
Yeah.
Has this ever been done before? That's why I have 122 healthy, happy, terrific years, because it's been done. It's like, and so my attitude is, well, if Gene Calamou can do it, well, why can't Jim Shorkey do it? I mean, it's not a question of like, well, Jim, I'm not saying just because I say it that I'm going to do it. That doesn't mean that, but can I at least try? Can I at least try to go see, most people aren't even thinking about 122. It's not even in their brain. Well, why not? Why not have an aging goal? I mean, like whether you, like I was talking to a guy one time, I said, well, how long do you want to, he says, you can't get more time. I said, yeah, you can. I said, you're about to get, he was a good friend of mine. I said, you're about to get your first lesson from Jim Shorkey. How am I going to get more time? You tell me how. I said, well, let's say, how long you plan on living for? He said, I think I'm going to live to be 70 years old. I said, man, you're not even shooting for the average, but okay, I'll go with your number. So what if we made lifestyle choice changes today and we started working this thing? What if I could tell you how to make lifestyle choices so that instead of dying at 70, you died at 80? Is that a realistic proposition? Yeah. Guess what? You just gained 10 years. Oh, I never thought about it that way. Exactly. You never thought about it that way, but you just picked up 10 years. So when somebody tells you can't get more time, yes, you can. But you know what? Here's the hard part about that. Guess what you can also do? Get less time. And when we live a life of depression, we're going to die sooner than we need to.
It's true. I was, like I said, I was diagnosed with PTSD and depression. It took me to the point where I had like 3 surgeries in a month. Like I was losing like 10 pounds a week. I was, because everything was messed up on the inside of me. And, you know, so I basically like, you know, that's my passion, is teaching people how to cope with their mind that goes rampant when you had a lot of trauma in your life, because it really does. It leaves you living a more prosperous life, but also you know, I blame all that on the accumulated stress that I had built up. I never relaxed. There was never a moment.
Yeah. Well, there's so let me run through 6 more pillars. You ready? I don't want to dominate the conversation. This is your podcast.
No, you do it.
I have 6 more pillars, right? 6 pillars that I really, really think are important. And matter of fact, I shouldn't say I think they're important. I know they're important. Number 1 pillar, if you don't fix this, you're screwed. Okay. Sleep. You have to get the right amount of sleep, which is typically 8 hours a night. You have to do that. Well, I can't do that. Well, then plan on being sick, plan on dying sooner, plan on all that, because it's that important. Sleep is a really, really important idea, right? So if you don't get the right amount of sleep, all the other stuff you do, it's really not going to matter, because the lack of sleep deprivation is really a nasty thing. The second thing you got to do is you got to reduce stress. You got to have a stress mitigation strategy. And there's so many I can give you, which probably is beyond the scope of our conversation today. But if you want to unpack it, we will. But you've got to reduce stress. And so according to my studies, and I've read multiple books, still reading, that stress and sleep, if you don't fix your sleep, you're going to be stressed out, which affects your sleep, which affects your stress, which affects your sleep, which affects your stress. And it's a vicious circle. So if you don't fix those 2 things, you can eat all the broccoli in the world. It's not going to matter. And I'm telling you, do you know why that is? Do you have any idea why it is that the diet doesn't matter when you're stressed out?
Yeah, because the stress like lowers your immune system anyway. So it's
hold on,
like
back up a second. But if we're going to talk about this, let's be technical. But why is that? What's the reason that it lowers your immune system? What is the reason? Do you know what it is? If you don't, I can tell you. What's that?
Do it.
Well, you're in fight or flight. You're in fight or flight. And fight or flight means you're in fight or flight. So you're out on the savannah, and there's a tiger chasing you, right? Or a lion or whatever. And so you got to get away from this lion or you're going to die. It's that simple. And so when you think about being in fight, and that would be fight or flight. So your body is primed in that element when you're in fight or flight to either fight or run, right? And so if you're in that fight or flight mode, why would you need your immune system? I mean, you're going to die. Why would you need your digestive system? You're going to die. So all that stuff gets shut down or very, very much lowered, so that the broccoli you just ate, you're not going to digest it. You're not going to absorb the nutrients because you're in fight or flight. So that's why stress is so vitally important in our society today, that we teach people to, number 1, they got to sleep. Number 2, they got to reduce stress. And there's ways to do that. Third pillar is diet. It does matter what you eat. And the standard American diet is the acronym for that is SAD, and it's very sad. It's a very sad diet. I don't do that. I don't do the standard American diet. I eat real food. If you saw my diet, it's really, really solid, real food, not fake food, right? And then next is physical movement. You have to move every day, and basically all day long. You're going to move every single day. They say the sedentary lifestyle that we live these days is it's as bad or worse than smoking. It's that bad. So we want to be on top of our sleep, on top of our stress reduction, on top of our diet, on top of our physical movement, and we want to be on top of our tribe. And I want you to think about your tribe. That's your group. That's your people. And think about the COVID recommendations. Like we were taken away from our tribe, right? And so that compromises the whole thing. We have evolved to be part of a tribe. And that tribe is your family and your friends and your expert counsel and all these people that really the group think type thing. And then lastly is novelty, doing novel things, doing new things, learning new things, reading a book about, quantum physics, which I'm in the process of. It's my next book, a book about
That's
quantum.
awesome.
Yeah, imagine that. Here's
That's
a
good stuff.
freaking car salesman reading a book about quantum physics. Like,
That's
what are you even
awesome.
talking
I
about,
think
right?
it's cool.
Yeah, but the point is, though, is I'll learn something from that. It's like, wow, that's kind of
Oh,
cool.
absolutely.
I didn't know that. But at any rate, so learning new things. So those are the 6 pillars that I really work on, along with my 5, passion, health, love, abundance, and joy. I kind of, this whole thing comes together in this one big package that, and that's really, to a degree, what I'm trying to teach. But I mean, it's not like you can teach the whole thing at one time. So we teach it like, if somebody wants to work on health, then let's talk about health and how we can do that, or their love. Like, what can we do, with Rethink You 2.0 and results from thinking? What if we could say, okay, we're going to get you on a journey where you're going to improve your relationships? I mean, how important would that be? To me, that makes me cry. Like, I hear somebody say, yeah, we did this. And, or again, back to making money. We taught somebody how to make money, and they were making, $10,000 a year, weren't able to pay their bills, et cetera. And now they're making $50,000 a year with the hopes of making $100,000 a year in the near future. That brings me great joy. So that would be the thread of where I'm coming from.
Yeah. So I've watched like quite a few of your videos on Facebook, and I've seen you talk a few times about your daily routine. So what's the routine nowadays? Because I always find that interesting.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand, you're dealing with a guy that's a little bit goofy, right? So
I love it.
Just ask my wife, she'll tell you. But so my routine is, number one, my routine started yesterday, and it's sleep, right? I have to protect my sleep. So I'm very, very concerned about my sleep, and I measure my sleep a variety of different ways. So I know what my sleep did. And then based on that sleep, that dictates how I go about my day, right? So sleep, the beginning of my day is last night when I should even go back a little further. I have a sleep routine where I end my day. I'm reading a book. I'm reading a book right now called The Biology of Belief. Just about done with it. Fantastic book by Bruce Lipton. I think I have Bruce Lipton, PhD. And so it's an expert counsel, The Biology of Belief. Imagine that. So I'm just about done with that book, and I'll move on to quantum physics next. But at any rate, so reading and then falling asleep. And now I'm sleeping. I wake up. I do a meditation every morning. It's just a, belly breathing, focusing on really trying to focus on nothing, trying to get nothing in there versus something. And that's hard to do, but I still try to, I do that. So anyway, so I get up and from my meditation, and then I roll into, I do Sudoku every morning. I get out, shirt off, I'm wearing shorts, no shoes, no socks, shirt off, no hat. And I sit out in the sun, the morning sun. This will typically be around 8 o'clock in the morning. Not enough that I'm going to get sunburned, but I'm out there and I sit there and I do Sudoku, and I drink my cup of coffee with MCT oil, and I do a Four Sigmatic mushroom blend. What I did this morning was called Focus, Focus. It's got a variety of different things. This Four Sigmatic is fantastic stuff. So MCT oil, that does cross the blood-brain barrier. It's very good for my brain. The coffee is very good for my whole body, my brain. Again, I'm fasted. And these two things, by the way, the mushroom blend and the MCT oil, do not break my fast. They have a zero impact on my glucose. So it's very solid. Doing Sudoku, I do 2 very difficult Sudoku puzzles. Good for my brain. I'm giving my brain a little bit of a workout. Then I make my tea. So this is oolong tea. I have a supplement routine that I do, and I, get updated on Facebook. I do birthdays. I love wishing people happy birthday. So I have typically 15, 20 people a day that I say happy birthday to. I love that. I think that's very good for me as a human being to just say that and to be involved in saying happy birthday, and somebody texts me back, says, hey, thank you so much. Well, enjoy your day and all that, and that kind of thing. It's just good. It's a feel good kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But today, today I And so then the next step, once I get things going, I get my teammate and everything going, I do what is called, it's called Elite, ELITE HRV. And HRV is heart rate variability. And so this Elite HRV is a measurement. You put this thing on your finger, and it measures for you, do a 2-minute check-in, measure your heart rate and your HRV, heart rate variability. And those two numbers combined compared to your historical data tell you whether it's a go day or a take it easy day. And so yesterday I was at 10, which is the highest number you can get. And so I went hard yesterday. I did a very hard heel workout and a very hard, I swing a bag. I have a 13-pound bag that I swing very hard in the sun, in the heat. I'm out there doing that. And and so I went hard yesterday. So to make it long story short, today I'm a 4. And so what does that mean? It means go easy. So back to what do I do? So I go outside the same way, the same place, but without the bag. And I'm just doing body movement, just easy body movement, right? And I did that for about 40 minutes. It gets my heart rate up. So I'm just doing twisting and arm swings and arm circles and just some different stuff. Did it for about 40 minutes out in the sun. I had a hat on, but other than that, I'm naked. I mean, I have a pair of shorts on, no shirt, letting the sun hit my skin. Vitamin D, exactly. And so I'm out there doing that. And then from there, I did a 1-hour meditation because the numbers were off. Now, see what I'm saying? So I would not have done this meditation during the day typically, but my numbers were off. So it's telling me to do breathing exercises, to do easy workouts, to do stuff like that. So I did a 1-hour meditation, and I'm literally laying on our concrete sidewalk. So I'm grounding. Okay. If you understand grounding, that's a neat idea. So I'm grounding, and I'm again naked. I have a hat on because I'm bald, so I got to protect this spot up here. Yeah. But got my hat on, doing this meditation for literally 1 hour. Belly
1
breathing.
hour is such a long time.
It is, but it's cool. It's totally cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, well, you don't start off an hour. Start off with 5 minutes, right? But
that's incredible.
Yeah, but I've learned how to do it. So now,
wow.
here's where it gets goofy. Here's where it gets goofy. I have what is called a cold plunge, and so it's a tank that is filled with water, and it's 40 degrees.
I was hoping you would bring that up.
40 degrees, 40. Okay. So I get in there, and I had a meeting before this meeting. I'm literally shaking, right? So I get in, I was in there for about 9.5 minutes, 40 degrees. And I mean, it is unbearably cold, but it's what happens is your body reacts to the cold, and it's called hormesis, and cold shock proteins, and it causes your body to do all kinds of stuff, which turns out to be a very healthy idea, right? Now, again, don't do this. This is Jim Shorkey. Remember, I'm goofy. I'm a little on the goofy side. So don't do this. Please don't do this without talking to the right people. But I do it. 40 degrees. I'm in there for 9.5 minutes. Get out, and I got this meeting at 2:00 with another fella. So I get in the shower, and I kind of was running short on time. I'm taking this, totally hot shower, soaping up because I'm all stinky from all the other stuff I already had done today. Yeah. So I take my warm shower, and a hot shower, excuse me, hot, very hot. And I get out of there, dry off, dress. I'm still shaking. I'm having a hard time talking. Not now. I'm good now, but back then. And so but then I did a meeting. So this is my day. I did a meeting with Aaron, and now I'm meeting with you, and that's my day. Now, what I'll do is I'll break fast today. So we're meeting, and when I'm done here, I will start working on breaking fast, and I'll break fast with an incredibly healthy idea, right? So it'll be, so I already have a planned out in my brain. So, because today's a little different because I have a meeting tonight. I do a mastermind meeting with a group at 5:45. So I've got to kind of squeeze my eating in between that meeting, and then afterwards I'll do a little more. But what I'll do is this is goofy, but I got this from expert counsel, right? So that break fast it'll start off with a tablespoon of chia seeds, which are nasty, okay, and a tablespoon of what is called psyllium husk, which is a prebiotic fiber, which is very good for my gut microbiome. So I take the psyllium husk and the chia seeds, I put them in a very small amount of water, I shake it up real good, and then you got to chug it, because otherwise it turns into like literally spackling compound. I mean, you can't imagine how fast this stuff changes into something that you could probably throw against the wall and it would stick, right? So that goes into my body. Next, I do a concoction with 2 scoops of whey protein, which is it's a cow milk protein, a powder per se. And then I do 3 scoops of cacao with reishi mushroom in it. Reishi is the queen of medicinal mushrooms. This is not a psychedelic mushroom. This is a healthy, not that's like, I'm not going to get into psychedelic mushrooms, but this is a healthy mushroom that should go in a person's body. So that's the next step, is the protein and the cacao. Also, so the cacao, what it is, cacao is what makes chocolate. And the problem with chocolate is they put all this stuff in that, mix in with the cacao to make anywhere from dark chocolate to milk chocolate. And so the dark chocolate, you'll see when you look at dark chocolate, you'll see a number is called the percentage of cacao, which the good number would be 80%, and it's quite bitter. Well, what I'm doing is I'm doing pure cacao. There is no sugar or anything in there. So it's cacao protein, shaked it up real good. Again, down the hatch, not good. Doesn't taste good. You might say, well, why the hell do you do it? Well, this stuff, the cacao is good for, promotes blood flow, excuse me, and angiogenesis, which, remember, peripheral vascular disease. So through expert counsel, got this idea that this is healthy for my cardiovascular system, or for my arterial system, or my vascular system, excuse me. And so I do that next. And this is all within a period of like 5 minutes. And next will be, this is also every bit as goofy. So I, for health reasons, fiber. So I take 4 tablespoons of flaxseed, ground flaxseed, okay, which is like, literally, it's like eating sawdust, right? So take 4 teaspoons of that, put it in the water, shake it up, and I mean, I get rid of it as fast as I can. Down the hatch it goes. And again, it's awful. It tastes awful, right? So I got my oolong tea to chase it down. And then I'll break fast. Today I have a smoothie in it that Amy made for me, which is just pure 100% health, vegetables and fruits and whatnot. I'll try to get some probiotics in me, like kefir or yogurt or something like that. I'll try to, I will. And then Amy has a meal that she made for me, which is some kind of a chicken type thing, which I will do that. So I don't know that I'll get done before my meeting, but that's the breaking of the fast thing. And then I'll go do the meeting. This is a busy day for me. Typically the days aren't quite as busy because I am retired. And then I'll do the meeting, and then I'll finish my eating. I get that all done. I'd like to be done eating by 7 o'clock. It's tough on Mondays because my meeting goes to 6:45. So typically I get done eating at about 7:30, because you really do remember sleep.
Yeah.
Well, if you eat too close to sleep time, you should stop eating 4 hours before you physically go to sleep, because, and certainly minimum 3 hours, because if you eat, like, let's say you eat right before you go to bed, a lot of people do that. Well, what is your body doing while you're sleeping? It's digesting that food that you just ate. What it's supposed to be doing is fixing all the crap that you got wrong with you. It's called restorative sleep for a reason, right? So I really try to shut down my food by 7:30, so that when I do go to, and like last night I went to sleep right around 11, because I love reading so much. I'm a lot of times getting to sleep at 12 o'clock, which is not good. And that's contrary to what I said about sleep being so important, because it is, but I just love the reading so much. So sometimes with our disciplines, we have to kind of modify and make it work. And I do, because I'll just, when I get to bed a little later, I'll make it a point to try to sleep as long as I can. And if I find it, I'm sure that's when I do the meditation. I actually can do a meditation. There's a methodology behind that puts me into deep sleep. Deep sleep is a restorative sleep. So I can actually, because I'm sure on sleep, I can do a special meditation, which again, is beyond the scope of this discussion, but I can do a special meditation that will put me into deep sleep for that half an hour or 45 minutes that I do that. And so it's adding to my sleep from last night. But that's the route. Oh, I'm sorry. So through the meeting, blah, 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 finish eating. And then Amy and I, my wife, we play Scrabble literally every night. We play two games of Scrabble, sometimes three. And this is not, we're not gonna violate this. Remember the love pillar, right? Amy is the center of my
Right.
universe. And so, you know, we have to keep that relationship alive. And so that Scrabble is just a time where, you know, we shut the phones off and we just sit there and we play this old game called Scrabble, which again, back to the brain, is a thinking game. So that's good for my brain, and it's community. I'm with Amy and we just talk and have fun, and we have a competitive, a fun competitive thing going on, and it's just fun. It's fun, and it's my wife, and I'm retired, and this is the good life. So that's a long answer to a short question. And there's more. If I don't have these different meetings and stuff, then there's more stuff that I would do to fill the different gaps. I don't stop. I go all day long. I never watch TV routines. I never, ever watch TV ever.
I'm big on that. Like, what it is that you're feeding your mind is so incredibly important. I was just telling some clients about that the other day at work, because they're like, you should come in and watch this Stranger Things show. And I was like, I don't watch TV. I'm careful with what I feed my mind. And they're like, oh, you're one of those. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm like, but you can do it your way if you want. But I'm just saying, it's called television programming for a reason.
Well, wear that badge with pride, because that's really, really great that you recognize that. And TV is just not, first of all, you're sitting, you know, and I know you could be doing push-ups and stuff, but you are programming your mind with that stuff. And you're not even thinking about the commercials, which are also going in there as well. I'm just not going to do it. I don't have time to do it. And I just don't do it. The Super Bowl this year, we were in Florida at the time, Amy and I. And so I watched, I actually went for a walk during the first half of the game. And so I didn't watch it at all. And then we had guests with us, and so they were watching the game, of course. And so I watched the second half. I actually watched like part of the celebration, the halftime show, excuse me. Just a very small part of that, and I watched the end and the game, and I enjoyed it, by the way. So I shouldn't say I never watch TV, but my TV watching would be probably, gosh, if I was guessing, I mean, this is for the whole year, maybe 20 hours for the whole year. It just to me is, I'd rather be reading my books, you know, that are going to teach me something, you know, like you were just mentioning about what you put in your brain. Well, just think about that title I just gave you, the biology of belief, of belief. Like, what is that all about? Right. You know, so yeah, I don't watch TV. That would be, there's things. So remember, like when you look at a routine, you know, there's your to-do list, but within that routine, there's also your to not do list. Right. And so what is on that to not do list, things that I'm not going to do today, right? So, and I have some things I do that I like, you know, probably I fall into the sinkholes of Facebook, where it's like, next thing you know, it's a half an hour later and I'm still watching this crap, you know? So I'm guilty, but I try to not do that, because it's not good for Jim Shorkey, for sure. So when I say I don't watch TV, I don't want to sound like I'm some paragon of virtue. I mean, I do get into the rabbit holes of Facebook. Absolutely. And they are rabbit holes. And so I really have to work at that. It's not good. It's definitely not good. I would say probably Facebook, social media, I'd say it's way worse than TV, quite frankly. It's a nasty thing, but I use it also. I think there's great advantages to social media.
Definitely use it for the good.
Absolutely. But it can be, there's a downside to it. So I think we all need to know that, but everybody has to do their own thing. Andrea, you're right. Like, hey, if you want to watch, and I say that if you want to watch TV, but I'm just not going to watch it. And I'm not, I'll leave the room. Like I like the news. I do not watch the news at all. I don't want any part of it.
No. And if you think about, like, I'll relate to people, like, how do you know how to drive a vehicle? How do you know how to read a book? It's because you were taught it. It went in. You know what I mean? And so
there's no question.
These things, whether you choose for them to or not, they're still going in. And so, and they're stored there. So
let's stop for a second. It's not so much that they're going in, because they are, but they're still there. So the stuff that happened when you were 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, it's still there. And the only way
Right.
to get it out is you have to reprogram your brain. And
Yeah,
so what happens
absolutely.
is as you develop the way you have to reprogram your brain, which is what I did. Okay.
Yeah,
Over a period of 30 years, this takes time. And
right.
so, but over time, when you reprogram your brain around, for example, some certain idea, and you keep repeating that idea to your brain, you start to rewire your brain around that
Yeah,
idea. And
it's
so
so
you develop
true.
these neural circuits that become very, very strong. And because you're focusing on that neural circuit, or maybe multiples of that, the ones that you want to get rid of, it's not like you necessarily get rid of them, but they just grow weaker and weaker and weaker to
Yeah,
where they're just no longer a factor. But in order
yeah,
to get rid of that's why with our program, it's called Rethink You 2.0. The reason for the genesis of that name, Rethink You, is that, your A thinking has got you to A results. And this is the part that a lot of people really miss, including Jim Shorkey back in the day, is that
yeah,
if my A thinking gets me A results, how am I going to get B thinking, or I'm sorry, B results? Let me say that again. My A thinking got me A results. I want B results. I can't stay with A thinking and
yeah.
expect to get B results. That's what people, unfortunately, myself included, expect. So in order
Process of insanity.
yeah, exactly. In order to get to the B results, I have to first change to B thinking and
Yeah,
B actions and get to work on that. And it takes time. It takes, they say that you hear this, it takes 30 days to establish a new
yeah,
habit. You hear
I've heard
60
that.
days. Yeah, it's total bullcrap. It's just not true. It's not, it's not true. Hey, for me, like, and when they did that study, it's called The Power of Habit. Yeah, the average was, I think it was 60 some days, 66 days, whatever. But there were some people that were 200 days. And if you're a person that's 200 days and you're thinking, I'm going to fix this in 66 days, well, good luck with that. Right. And
Right.
they also designated that. So it's one thing to quit eating ice cream. And that's a bad habit, let's say, right? It's another thing to quit smoking. And so to
Yeah,
say that quitting ice cream is a 66-day deal versus quitting cigarettes is a 66-day deal, that's ludicrous. So
right.
the nature of the habit, the nature of the bad habit can take years to
Or when was
unwind.
it formed? Was it formed when you were,
Yeah,
just developing your personality? So, you know what I mean? Like that's the
yeah,
things that, I have to work through is my mind will all the time try to go back to the negative form and I got to catch it right then and there. And I have
yes,
to
you
be like,
do.
no, that's not you.
Yes, you do.
That's your programming. So now we have to look someplace new. And so it definitely is. I've been working on that for 3 years and there's no shut off button yet. I'm still redirecting myself all the time.
Do you
So,
do do you do affirmations?
yeah, I do.
Let me
Yeah.
give you, let me give you an affirmation.
Okay, do it.
I would say start doing this affirmation and do it a million times. Then call me and tell me how you're doing. You ready?
Okay,
You
do it.
ready? I
Yeah,
can succeed.
I
I
can
can
succeed.
succeed. All that is possible for anyone is possible for me. I am successful. I do succeed, for I am full of the power of success. I can do what I want to do. Now, we're going back to mom, and mom's saying, Andrea, you can't succeed. You can't. You're
Yeah,
just not good enough. And so that wants to jump in there when you're doing an affirmation, but you got to keep doing it. And so you do it,
right.
10 times a day, 20 times a day. Just, it doesn't take long. I can't succeed. All that is possible for anyone is possible for me. I am successful. I do succeed, for I am full of the power of success. I can do what I want to, I can do what I want to do. Yes, I
Yeah,
can. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so I was doing that affirmation yesterday when I was taking a cold shower. I took a hot shower today. Yesterday, I did not do the cold plunge, but because I was, it was my grandson's birthday. Theo James was his birthday. So I had to, I was on a short leash. I had to get done. So I did my workout, everything I just told you, and I had to get a shower because I stunk really bad. And so I'm in there in the cold shower, but I'm doing that affirmation. I can't succeed. Why would I be doing that
it's
affirmation,
a
Andrea?
cold shower. I can imagine you screaming it too.
Well, I wasn't screaming it because there was other people.
Like,
Like the shower was such in the house that there's people visiting. We're having a birthday party. I was right at the beginning of the birthday party, and you do have to practice some sense of I don't know, modesty or whatever. So, but I was, no, I was saying it like, I was saying it in the voice I'm saying it right now. Typically,
Right.
if I was by
That's
myself,
awesome.
truly, I'd be saying it very loud and maybe
Yeah.
screaming like a little girl, like, but
Yeah, because the cold shower,
yeah, I'm a cold shock.
that'll
Again,
make you squeal.
yeah, it's cold shock proteins and,
Yeah.
you know, it's all kinds of things that happen when you do that cold shower. Even if nothing else, like, and I watched a TED talk about this, cold showers. It's a 12-minute TED talk. You can look it up. It's a really
I've
cool
seen
talk.
it in so many different places.
Yeah. So if you watch that,
A lot.
he believes, this young man believes it's,
Different books, different programs,
yeah,
different things. Yeah.
but he believes that it's the benefit of the cold shower is the mind over matter type of a thing, right? Because here's what happens, like you're a human being, right? And you're going to take a shower. And so you're standing there butt naked, getting ready to get in the shower. And your brain says, what are you doing? I'm going to take a cold shower. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. Watch me. And
Right.
what are you doing? Don't put that on cold. And it's telling you, trying to talk you out of it. It's like,
I
I've
imagine.
done 1,000 cold showers, 10,000 every
Right.
time. What are you doing? Like I got in a cold plunge today, 40 freaking degrees. It's like,
Right.
and my brain says, what are you doing? I'm getting in a cold plunge. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. And then you get in there. It's like, get the hell out of here. You got to get out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
No, we're staying in here, brother. You and me, let's go. Let's do it together. We're in here. And I'm doing my belly breathing. It's like, I'm telling you, you ever jump in 40-degree water, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's cold. It's really cold.
Yeah.
But this fella in this TED talk I'm talking about, he felt that the mind over matter was maybe the most important part of it, because if I can handle the cold shower, the cold plunge, guess what? There's other stuff I can handle as well that I didn't think I could handle. So back to that affirmation, I can succeed. Let's talk about cold showers. I can succeed. All that is possible for anyone is possible for me. I am successful. I do succeed, for I am full of the power of success. I can do what I want to do. Yes, I can. Thank you. And so you think about a cold shower. Has that ever been done before? Of course it has. It's been done for the millennia, for thousands and thousands of years. People have been doing cold plunges and cold showers and all that stuff. It can be done. So why not me? And so once you figure out that you can do that thing, maybe there's something else you can do. Like maybe you never walk, right? So it's like, I got to start walking. I've read all about it. You know, you read walk. And so, but I never walk. So it's like, well, okay, I can succeed. All this is possible. And so you say, I'm going to go out and walk for half a mile, and you do it. It's like, well, that was kind of tough, but I did it. And then next day, another half mile, next day, another half mile. And it's like the 5th day, it's like, I'm going to walk a little further. So now instead of being a half mile, which is 880 yards, I'm going to walk 1,000 yards. So it's just a little bit further, another 100 yards. And it's like, I did that. And guess what? Once you do that 1,000 yards, you'll never go back to the half mile again. You'll do, and next thing you're walking a mile. Next thing you know, it's like, you know what? I always wanted to run a 5K. Well, heck, you can't even walk a 5K. Well, let's get there, right? And so then you start walking your 5K and you learn how to walk a 5K. And then it's like, I'm going to run, walk. And then I'm going to run, walk. And eventually you get to the point where, man, I ran a mile. Man, I ran 2 miles. Man, I ran 3 miles. And a 5K is roughly it's actually 3.1 miles. And next, you know, you're running a 5K. It's like, wow. Now, is that going to happen in a week? No, it's not. That's what I'm trying to say. So when they say the 66 days to make a new habit, I just think it's scientific. I think it's factual, but I think that it's been misinterpreted by a lot of people that read headlines and not read the whole book. I read the whole book. And so you got to be very careful when you're coaching people that you make it sound like this is so easy. This is not easy, especially if you're like me. I'm a 6-monther. I mean, it takes me 6 months to establish a new habit or break a bad habit. So that's just me. That's who I am. And so
I'm automatically programmed to be disobedient.
yeah, me too. But you don't want to be disobedient, because this is expert counsel. So when you're disobedient, then so if you have a success formula from expert counsel and you're going to disobey the success formula, you're choosing to be unsuccessful. That's your choice. You're deciding to be unsuccessful. And you don't want to do that, Andrea, because you want to be successful. You want to deliver your message to the world. You want to bring your faith to the world, whatever that would be, whatever that looks like for you. If you are disobedient to the rules, then you're choosing to be unsuccessful with your message.
Yeah. And I had to really start working on that a couple years ago. I started by like setting my alarm clock for like 4 o'clock in the morning every day. Cause I'm like, as like 7 days a week. Now I'm to like 3 o'clock in the morning, to get
Hold
up
on,
and
hold on, hold on, hold on,
listen.
hold on. Did you see me cringing right now?
You don't like that?
I don't like that at all. Why would you do that? What are you doing? That's
Well,
a bad idea. I'm sorry. I love you. I love you. That's a bad, what did I tell you was the most important pillar of those things I
sleep,
was talking? What's that?
sleep.
Okay. So when you, so what you should be doing is waking up naturally according to your
Yeah,
circadian rhythm, right? And so,
yeah,
well, if I do that, I'll sleep in. No, you didn't go to bed early enough. So you have to adjust that to where you do wake up naturally and maybe put a
yeah,
soft alarm at the other end of the room. Because what happens, here's what happens when you wake yourself up with an alarm clock, you're waking yourself up in the middle of most likely REM sleep, which is your memory consolidation sleep. So you have deep sleep and you have REM sleep and you have your light sleep, right? And so you go through cycles throughout the night. And so in the morning is when you, at the beginning of the evening is when you get your deep sleep, and in the morning is, or towards the morning hours, excuse me, when you get your REM sleep. So tell me why you would do that? Because I am totally in disagreement with you on that one. Tell me why you're waking up at 4 o'clock in the
I
freaking
was
morning.
always the type of person that would be late for work every day, that would sleep through my kids getting on the school bus, that would all the
Okay.
time try to
Okay.
sleep in late. So that was the training process for not only um waking up and actually have enough time to read. I do meditation in the morning and I do all this before I get to work, rather than just rushing out the door, you know what I mean, in a rampage because I gotta
Okay.
hurry up and I'm
Okay.
late.
Okay. You're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Let's pick that because at 3 o'clock, that's freaking crazier yet.
Yeah,
So
well, it's
four
like
o'clock,
3:30.
hold on, 4 o'clock in the morning, right? So
Yeah.
12 to 4 is 4 hours. Tell me when you're laying your head on the pillow and you're actually going to sleep. Looks like I lost you. Nope.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Back.
Yeah. So tell
Somebody
me,
called.
so you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Let's just pick that number. Alarm clock goes up at 4 o'clock in the morning. What time are you hitting the pillow and you're going to sleep?
9:30-ish.
Oh,
Sometimes 10.
that's pretty darn good. So you're close. So let's say 9:30 will give you 2.5 hours plus your 4 is 6.5. I still think you're short. I really do. I think, and that leads to
I
the
feel it
depression.
sometimes.
No kidding. I'm telling you, it's really important. You got to do your studying, but
Yeah.
so what time do you have to leave the house to be at work?
5.
5 in the morning.
Oh, wait, 5:30. 5:30.
Wow. Why?
Because I decided I wanted to work 6 a.m. to 2:30. I like that
Okay.
schedule.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Now, well, then you got to go to bed earlier. You got to figure out a
Yeah.
way to get to bed earlier. You're not getting enough sleep, in my opinion,
Yeah.
unless you're an outlier, which your metrics would have to tell you that. But the number is 8, arguably 9, minimum 7, and you got to start thinking about that because
Yeah.
yeah. Tell me again why are you working?
Why am I working?
Uh-huh.
Um, well, this year kind of taught me that money really wasn't all that important to me, but it was more so something that I needed.
Okay.
And so then that also brought me to thinking about the beginning of my work life. I had started at like 13 because money was important to me then, but then whenever I turned to 18, before that, like at 17, my mother had passed away. Well, before that, I wanted to go to college. And at 17, I was like, I don't really even want to finish high school right now. And so I ended up turning 18. I didn't graduate, but I always went for the least. Do you know what I mean? Like it was always
So
like the minimum wage.
you're not
Because
answering my question. Why are you working today? What's the reason why? Remember, reason why?
why today?
Yeah. Why are
Because
you working?
I'm working on my worthiness
Yeah.
issue.
How does that look when you're dead?
When I'm
How does,
dead,
when you die because of the stupid crap you're doing? How does that look? Like you're working and you're killing yourself. How does that turn out? Or if you get sick, like if you
yeah,
get cancer or or Alzheimer's disease or whatever. I mean, you got to read the data on this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
so remember what I told you, sleep is when you fix stuff. Do you realize that your body, what happens is your brain actually shrinks while you're in deep sleep, and it opens up this, it's called the glymphatic system. And you actually clean out your brain while you're sleeping of all the garbage. And because we don't do that in America today, guess what happens when we don't do that? And I may not have the technology quite right on that, but I'm telling you, this is pretty close to accurate. So it's called you have the lymphatic system, which is very important in our body. This is called the glymphatic system in your brain. So you drain all this crap out of your brain. Guess what happens when you don't do that? Alzheimer's disease, dementia, because you have all this crap that's stuck up in there because you didn't do the proper thing. And so, you've got to think about this sleep thing. I don't like what you're doing. Now I understand working. That's where you would maybe, so at some point during the day, that's where that a nap, for example, or a deep meditation.
I definitely do that.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. It concerns me when I hear that 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, because I hear a lot of people like a lot of self-development gurus talk that way. Like I remember I was involved with, I'm not going to go into names, but I was involved with a guy, and he is getting up at a certain time of the day, early in the morning, to read collectively this reading from Think and Grow Rich. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. And it was like, it's just bad advice. And you'll I saw one, there's a group on Facebook called the 5 a.m. Mastermind Club. Like, I'm not joining that club. I'm out. I'm not doing it. It's just not a good idea. And so all I'm saying is, if you're going to, you got to look at 8 hours. I don't care who you are, how you are, what you are. And if you're not going to get eight hours, then you have to have some strategy to bump that up, either with a nap or a deep meditation or something along those lines. I don't know. That concerned me. So I'm sorry I jumped in on you there, but
no, that's all right. But
I care about you.
Whenever I get to work and I deal with the clients and stuff like that, they're like, "You're always so peppy in the morning. Like, how are you like this?" And I'm like, "Well, because I have like a regimen. I have things that I do in the morning to prepare my whole day and to get a foundation out there so that, I'm building on that rather than waking up. I got to hurry up and get ready for work. I got to go to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm instead like, I'm going to go do all this because it's a progression on the pathway
I
to
think
what's
that's great.
happening.
I just concerns me about the sleep. Now, another idea I would give you is, what about doing a little more planning the night before so that everything's done?
I need to do that.
More so that maybe you can squeeze that to where you've got to be out of the house at 5:30. So maybe you can squeeze it to where it's 4:30, and because everything's done, you can spend time with the kids, get them off to the bus, whatever you got to do. And you just narrow things down, do your reading, do your whatever you do. But I'm just telling you, I'm telling you from personal experience, do not do what I did. I did exactly what you're doing. I felt that 4 to 5 hours of sleep per night was adequate. Matter of fact, we embraced it. We loved it. We were heroes. We were strong. We were powerful. We don't need sleep. I'll sleep when I die. And as I studied it, it's like, well, yeah, you're going to die sooner. So good luck, dude. But, so I didn't do this. I was dumb, but I ended up sick. I ended up unhealthy. So now I understand it. But what I did was, I would go to the dealership and I would be there and I'd work my butt off. I mean, I was working 13, 14 hours a day. And I drank 3 Mountain Dews a day. 3 freaking Mountain Dews. And if the guys got hot dogs, I got hot dogs. If they got Mountain Dew, or if they got a McDonald's, I ate McDonald's. Crap food, very little physical movement throughout the day, mostly sitting behind a desk, running numbers and all that, working deals, I should say. And I just had a bad lifestyle. I had a lot of bad lifestyle choices, and one of them being the sleep. I had no stress mitigation effort whatsoever. And to that point, like we felt that the lack of sleep was a badge of honor. We lived that way. We felt that the stress was like, bring it on. We're tough people. We'll handle it. Right. We never really thought about it as being in any way deleterious. We just didn't. And so we wanted stress and we wanted the lack of sleep. We embraced it. We hugged it. We loved it. And we were wrong. I was wrong, excuse me. And so now that I've started that new path, I still have health issues that I need to resolve. But how smart was I? You know, I'm supposed to be a guru. People not criticize me. They consider me to be a guru. And I tell them all the time, like, I'm not a guru. If I was a guru, how did I end up bankruptcy imminent? If I was a guru, why do I have peripheral vascular disease? Just don't do what I did. Find somebody who is smarter than you, have a copy the living crap out of him, you know? So it concerns me when I hear you say, like, when I hear 3:30 alarm clock, red flag.
You're like, don't do it.
I don't want that. I don't want that for you, because I think it's a bad idea. But I like the idea that you're starting earlier. I just would say, put some provision in there for maybe getting to bed even earlier than you are. You'll be amazed at what will happen there. But also, you know, like that. So it sounds like you don't meditate. I know you pray.
I do in the morning, and then I sometimes use a guided sleep meditation at night.
Wonderful. Well, see, you're holding back on me. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well,
yeah. See, now every now and again, like if I'm like super tired, I won't do it because I feel like it takes me into a coma, and then I don't hear my alarm clock go off. And then, but most nights,
listen to what you just said.
Yeah.
Listen to what you said. You feel like it takes you into a coma. Well, what is that? That's your body saying, Andrea, hold on. I'm down here and I need your help. I need you to do this right now. And we're going to go deep, real deep / coma. And we're going to fix some stuff while we're doing it. Like, you know, you got this cancer thing going on in your body right now, which you're not aware of, but it's there. And so we're going to fix that for you while we go into this coma.
That's awesome.
So just do your research. And again, I'm not giving you medical advice or anybody medical advice, but this deep sleep, this restorative sleep, is how we manage the health of our bodies. And we're just missing that in the United States of America. And hand up, I missed it as well. And so, but I'm going for 122 healthy, happy, terrific, relaxing years. And that's my goal. And I have reasons why that made me cry. And so how do I get there? Well, it's oolong tea. It's now I'm retired, Andrea. So in all fairness to you, I am retired. And so I do have more time, but I don't know. I think you could, I'm not hearing that you're making sleep a priority like you could. And by the way, if you do the meditation, the right way, the guided meditation, maybe do it when you get home from work. Make it a point. Like, you don't even have to go home. Like, maybe go someplace that's really peaceful where you can, I like to lay down when I meditate. So I'm laying on my back. So if you had like a yoga mat, you could go to a park, you lay down, and you're just in this park and you're laying down and you're listening to the birds and you're smelling the smells and the breeze. Like, I have a breeze right now behind me. It's like, and it's so fantastic. And so you go into this coma, and then you go home from there. Right. And but what you're doing though, when you do that, think about it. I told you, sleep and stress and sleep, sleep and stress, sleep. Well, you're de-stressing as well. So you're sleeping. It is sleep. It's absolutely sleep. I can prove it because I have a device that that records the metrics within my body that tells me that I'm sleeping, right? And matter of fact, I didn't even look at it, but my meditation I did today. Let's just take a look at it. I forgot to look at this. Let me see. So I use Aura, O-U-R-A. You probably heard me talk about that. Let me get update on this real quick. This tells me all about my activity today and my sleep and this and that. Let's just see what this nap I took did. It's very interesting. But imagine this. So there's the nap. Click on that. So I got in that sleep, or that meditation, excuse me, I got 18 minutes of deep sleep. Now, you're a young lady. If you got an hour and a half of deep sleep for your whole sleep cycle in an evening, you'd be kicking butt. That's a good number, right? So if you got like an hour and a half, that's a really good number. So I got 18 minutes, plus I got another 39 minutes of light sleep. So that would be, and that's why that records the same way on my when I sleep at night. So 18 minutes of deep sleep, and actually moved what is called it moved my sleep score, that whole thing, by 6 points. So in other words, it had me at a certain score, it moved it by 6 points, and it moved also my readiness score, which is Aura does that as well. It moved that by 6 points as well, which what it's saying is you weren't real ready before you did that. Remember I said I was a 4 with my elite HRV. Now you're more ready. And so if you do the sleep properly, you do the stress reduction properly, now when you get home, guess what? These children have a new mom. They have a new mom. Like,
Yeah.
wow, man, what happened to mom? She's happy. She's enthusiastic. We're doing this, we're doing that. Like, I don't know. It's just the
I'll
sleep.
try.
Sleep is so freaking important. So
Yeah.
anyways, that's my dissertation to you, because I love you. I don't want
Oh,
bad stuff happening to you.
I
I'm telling
appreciate
you, for all the studying I've done, sleep and stress, you got to get those really, I don't know that you ever fix them. You just have to manage them. Does that make sense?
Right. Right.
Next question.
I'll get it. So, for the concluding statement, what would you, what would you like to say to everybody to inspire them for the future based on what you know? I don't know if that's coming out right, but
No, it came out perfect. Well, I don't know. There's so much
right.
so many thoughts I would have about that. But the one
What's
thing
your favorite thing that you abide by that you just want to share to the world
well,
besides everything?
I think it starts with standing naked in front of the mirror. And I mean,
Yeah,
sincerely, getting
I
butt
like that.
naked and standing naked in front of that mirror and having a look and say, well, do I like what I see? So stand naked in front of the mirror would be my first piece of advice. And so when we stand naked in front of the mirror, we want to stand naked in front of that passion mirror, that health mirror, that love mirror, that
Love
abundance
it.
mirror. What's my bank account, right? That what's my debt to income ratio? Like, we got to stand naked in front of the mirror. And then my joy mirror, and then the converse to that joy mirror would be sadness, and the abundance would be poverty, and the love would be loneliness, and the health would be illness, and the passion would be apathy, or I don't give a crap, right? And so when we stand naked in
Right.
front of those 5 mirrors, what do we see? And do we like what we see? And if we don't like what we see, then we've got to make a change, because if we keep doing what we've been doing, we're going to keep getting what we've been getting. And Albert Einstein said to expect anything other than that is insanity, right? If
Yeah.
you keep on doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep on getting what you've been getting. So my first piece of advice will be to stand naked in front of the mirror. And in my regard, today, that would be standing naked in front of the health mirror. What is my waist to hip ratio? This is a very important number, right? And
Yeah.
when we look out into the world at large, it's like, you look at these numbers, and we're not doing real good. And so maybe somebody that's watching this is one of the people that's not doing real good. And so you get naked, you stand in front of the mirror, and say, you know what, man, I look like crap. And you don't get all mad and angry and upset. You just say, okay, what can I
Yeah.
do to change this? Okay, well, I can tell you my first piece of advice, stand naked in front of the mirror. Second piece of advice would be, figuratively speaking, and I want everybody to think about this, right? Donuts are not a health food. Pizza is not a health food. Fritos are not a health food. The sodas, they're not health foods. And so what is your thing that you're doing that's creating this result that you're looking at when you stand naked in front of the mirror that you need to stop doing? So, you got to start really thinking this the whole way through, in terms of, if I keep on doing what I've been doing, I'm going to keep on getting what I've been getting. So what's this going to, like, I'm naked right now. I'm in front of the mirror. I'm 65 years old. What am I going to look like when I'm 75? I already know what I'm going to look like. I already know, because I'm going to keep doing the right things every single day for the next 10 years. So I'm going to be 75, and people are going to say, geez, Jim, what the heck? You look great. What are you doing? So, it's going to take me a while. You got a couple hours to sit down and have a conversation. This is going to take some time, but it didn't just happen by chance, right? And
Yeah.
so so when you stand naked in front of the mirror, what do you see, and what do you want it to look like? And then how are you going to get there? So that would be the A. I'm in front of the mirror naked. And I do this, by the way. I literally stand naked in front of the mirror just about every single day. It's part of a routine. Yeah, I get out of bed in the morning. I weigh myself. So I'm already naked. I can stand in front of the mirror and say, Jim, you look pretty darn good, man. You're 65 years old. You look good. So I think I do. And so there's not a lot that I want to change physically based on that standing naked in front of the mirror. And but I've worked on it. So that would be my first thought. And then, what are the things that are contributing to where you're at right now, and how do we change that going forward?
I love that.
And that's where the expert counsel comes in. And there's let's say you want to lose weight. There's so many different programs to lose weight out there. And what I constantly see is Joe Schmo lost 20 pounds in a month. That is a really, really bad idea. That's a
Yeah.
terrible idea. The number I hear, and again, this is not medical advice, ladies and gentlemen, don't take it this way, but the number I hear is a pound a week. If you're losing more than a pound a week, you're not going to sustain it, which is where the yo-yo diet comes from. So we don't want that, right? So these magic pills, these magic formulas. Listen, I didn't get to be a great car dealer by magic formulas. I got to be a great car dealer by going to Mr. Hamilton. He said, do these 10 things, and I did them. Okay, it was nothing magical. It was no. It'd be great if you said, well, oh, here, Jim, here's this bottle of pills. You take one every morning at 3:30 in the morning when you wake up with Andrea, because she's a nut. So I know she's sending you a text to wake you up. So you're at 3:30, take your pill, you're good to go. Wouldn't that be great? It's not real. It's not realistic. It's, Jim Rohn said something that was very profound in so many ways. He said, you can't pay somebody else to do your push-ups. You just can't. You got to do the freaking push-ups, right? So you got to do the readings, you got to do the affirmations, you got to do the cold showers, you got to do whatever that would represent for you. But I love the idea of standing naked in front of the mirror. That's to get real time. I love thinking in terms of where I want this to be down the road. Am I on the right path or the wrong path? Most of us are on the wrong path, me included. And so we got to change that, or we'll end up where we don't want to end up at, So I could go on for an hour. I love talking about this.
I love it.
I love talking to you too. You do a great job. That's great.
So, results from thinking, or what is it? 2.0?
So it's Results from Thinking is the company that we started, and it's a mentoring company. And the program that we developed, it's actually a program. It's a video workbook program that myself and Chuck Polina, who you knew very well, Chuck, has left the planet. Awesome guy. I love the guy. I miss him every day. I love Chuck Polina. I'm wearing his shirt today. Okay. Hakuna Matata. And I love this man. And so the reason that my reason why for my pursuit of Rethink You 2.0 and Results from Thinking is Chuck Polina. And it does in fact make me cry. I promised Chuck a couple of days before he died that he would live on through me. And so I'm here talking to you because of that promise. Yeah. And so anyways, so we developed this program, and actually with Chuck, it was Rethink You, and we improved the program, right? Constant and never ending improvement. And it's now Rethink You 2.0, but we got Chuck in there. Chuck is actually in the program, and it's so freaking cool. So we have Chuck in there, and Steve Gardner, and Tara Zalewski, and Sarah Macon, and Larry Venzel, and Bruce Burke, and I don't want to leave anybody out. There's one other person in there, but these students of the program are actually doing some teaching in the program. So it's pretty freaking cool to where, so it's mostly, Derek Kelly's in there as well. Derek was not in the original program. And so it's a bunch of people collectively we're using Rethink You 2.0 to create this idea that you and I are talking about right now. We're using that for that purpose. And so I use it every day. I'm rethinking Jim Shorkey right now. Hence the biology of belief and quantum physics. Yep, it's ongoing. So Rethink You 2.0 is ongoing. You can find us. It's the Results from Thinking and Rethink You 2.0, and we have a little club we started. I think you're part of it, right? Are you in the
podcast?
No, but are you in the Goal Achiever community?
I don't think I am.
Yeah, get in there. Yeah, just send me just. You have to get approved, and
I might be. I
think you are, but anyways, there's 1,400 people in the community right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like-minded people that want to get better, right? And so all of our content goes into there. So if you just join Rethink You, the Goal Achiever community is what it's called. You'll find it on Facebook. It's a group. It's a private group, and so you would send a request, and I would see that and say, yeah, sure, let Andrea in, and then you're in, but all the content's going to be in there is my point.
That's awesome. And then you have a podcast too that you just started, and the name of that,
it's called the Pragmatist Podcast.
There you go.
We're absolutely, we have no interest in giving our guests theoretical information, no interest in that whatsoever. Our information is all science-based. It's all proven. It's stuff that we're doing. We're not going to give you anything that is theory. Like, well, this is what we think is going to happen. No, this is what will happen if you do what we tell you to do. So the Pragmatist Podcast, it's very similar to what you're doing here. So Derek and I, we're actually doing it this Thursday, and we we pre-record it, then we release it out. So we'll be releasing one probably tomorrow or the next day. But anyways, we'll do it on Thursday. And Derek, actually, the same format is here. I have no idea what we're going to talk about when we start talking. And Derek will say, "Hey, Jim, I've been thinking about this," and it's just a discussion between two guys, or a discussion between a guy and a girl, like right now with you and I. And it's just we had no plan, no idea. Or you had more of a plan than I did, and just let it rock and roll. Shoot from the hip and tell the truth. And everything I've told you, I can document, I can prove. It's what I'm doing. I'm sorry, let me rephrase it. It's what I did. So if you're intrigued with the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group, it's what I did. Anybody could have done what I did. It's what I do today, working on my health primarily, and other things as well, but primarily my health. And it's what I will do going forward, so that I can be 100 years old, sitting on that front porch with Andrea and my daughter and my granddaughter and one of my great grandchildren. And so I'm doing it right now, and I will continue to do it as long as I'm on this planet. And I want to teach it as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. I thank you so much for joining me and being awesome like you are. And
no, I'm not. Hey, listen, I got my Hakuna Matata t-shirt on. I am wearing shorts, by the way, so I'm not naked. So for those
that's funny.
I got my shorts on, but I'm just a regular guy who figured out a formula. That's all. It's H2O. H2O.
Right.
If I say to you, H2O is water, you wouldn't say, "Man, geez, Jim, you're really brilliant. You're smart. How did you figure that out?" I didn't. Somebody told me that, and I embraced it. But yeah, so my ideas are all formula driven, based on expert counsel. Anybody can do what I did. Now, maybe you can't do it as good as I can do it, but you can do it better today than you did yesterday, and better tomorrow than you did today. And that's the whole point.
Absolutely. It's starting.
Yeah, it's starting, and it's just keeping at it. And again, if I did it in 5 years, maybe it takes you 10 years. Imagine where you would be 10 years from now, but you got to start today. You can't wait till tomorrow.
Somebody had told me once that, like, time's going to keep going regardless, whether or not you progress towards what you want to do, or whether or not you don't. But what are you going to, like, how are you going to look back on this moment when you were looking ahead that time? Like, it's going to keep going. You're not going to stop time. And I'm like, oh, that's profound to think about. It is like 5 years is going to pass, whether or not I'm just fumbling it away, or if I'm in the pursuit of something. Like, where am I going to end up in that 5 years?
Yeah. And I have a quote over on the wall over here. I can't see it from here, but it says, it's a quote by Buddha, a very old quote. And I don't know if I'm saying it right, but the trouble is, you think you have time. And guess what? You don't have time. But let me ask you a question. I'll let you go with this thought. We'll be done. Is if I'm right, and let's say your predetermined death is 80 years old. So you're going to die at 80, which would be the national average for females, 80 years old, maybe 81. So let's just pick 80. And let's say I said to you, "Okay, Andrew, I'm going to give you this list of things that you need to do," like I got from Mr. Hamilton. But these are related to longevity, health span, and lifespan. Okay. And so I give you these lists, and you start working the list, and you're doing it and every day. And it turns out I'm right. And so you get to 80 and you're just kicking butt, you're rocking and rolling, and you actually make it to 90. So you've added 10 years to your life. Let me ask you a question. With those 10 years, how many churches could you start? How many books could you write? How many people could you mentor? How many podcasts could you do in that 10-year time? What kind of an impact could you have on this world with that extra 10 years?
Wow, that's deep.
That's deep.
Oh.
That's deep. But should Andrea and Jim Shorkey be thinking about that today? Like, what could we do with this extra time if we do the right things? And I'm back to that, my original point. I can be very repetitious, I know, but donuts and pizza and Fritos and the sad diet that we are promoting in America today, it's just not going to get us to those churches and those books and those podcasts. It's not going to get us there. We're going to die prematurely, and that's what's happening. It's sad. And at that, not just that we're done. It's one thing to die at 80, right? That's okay. It's a good number, right? 80, that's okay. But what about being sick for the 10 years before you die?
Right.
Like, God, how bad would that be? You know?
Yeah.
So you're done doing podcasts because you can't do them. You're sick. You're sick.
Right.
So we need to have a better way.
Right. I love that so much. That's awesome. that hurt.
Right. Listen, I love talking to you.
That's awesome.
This is nothing but fun for me. This is not work. I'm retired. Okay.
Yeah, I really wasn't expecting the fun Jim Shorkey, because every time I see your podcast, you're real serious.
Well, I am serious. Donuts aren't a health food. I'm telling you.
You're like, I am serious.
You notice, by the way, when you said that 3:30 thing, I'm like, whoa, what? Hold on, what did you just say? You didn't listen to the first part. No. Hey, you're doing a great job, Andrea. You really are. Great work.
I
Great work.
appreciate that. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
All
Have
right,
a good night.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you like this message. There's a different podcast every week with different faces and different stories to tell, to give us more wisdoms for our journey. So God bless. Love you. See you next time. Bye.